welcome back to another Wheel of Time video. So this morning, or last night, I don't know, time zones are weird. It was morning for me. Brandon Sanderson was on the Dusty Wheel, or Matt Hatch for the Dusty Wheel was on Brandon Sanderson's channel. I think cross-posted, whatever. The point is, Brandon Sanderson and Matt Hatch did a live stream where Brandon Sanderson revealed the secret. Those of us in the fandom have known that he had some sort of secret about the Wheel of Time that he had said that he would reveal at some point in the future. And I guess the future is now. So we have the secret. And I suppose this goes without saying, but in order to talk about this, I'm obviously going to be talking about things from the very end of the series. So full spoilers. So if you haven't read the entire Wheel of Time series, I guess go away. But the rest of you, let's get nerdy.
Let's be nerdy with. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy. Let's be nerdy with. Let's be nerdy with. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy with.
So, okay, I suppose to appease the algorithm, I should drag this out, but I won't. The secret, if for some reason you didn't watch the live stream, and I totally recommend that you do, because they talked about a lot more than just this. I will link it in the description. The secret is that Lanfear is alive at the end of the books, and that the whole thing with her and Perrin was her deceiving Perrin. I know this blew a lot of people's minds, and I'm not going to try and pretend that it wasn't a surprise to me, like I had in no way guessed this. It hadn't even occurred to me. But it didn't melt my mind in the way that I think it did for a lot of people, because the Lanfear Perrin plot in the final books is just not something that I'm particularly invested in. In fact, it's a plot line that I always found a little odd. Like, it felt out of place. And so for me, while this revelation didn't blow my mind, it did kind of scratch an itch that I didn't know that I had. Because, like, it felt odd for a reason. Because the feeling that I had during the Lanfear Perrin sections of the story was basically like, what the fuck is Lanfear doing? Why is she being weird? Ugh! And then I would just sort of pull my mind away from it, because I felt like it was pulling my focus from the parts of the story that I actually cared about. Like, I like Perrin, but I was not at all invested in his part of the story at this point. And Lanfear had stopped being interesting to me ages ago. And so I just sort of went, that's weird, and then I didn't think about it. So, the revelation that Lanfear was basically trolling Perrin that whole time, well, that's what that feeling was. And maybe if I cared more about either of them, oh god, that sounds awful. I do care about Perrin, but like, he made a hammer, that was awesome. Like, that scene, one of my favorite scenes in the book. I love that. And then he learned how to zap in and out of Teleronria, dealt with Slayer, that was cool. But the stuff with Lanfear, it just felt weird and out of place, and I didn't care about it, so I didn't think about it. What actually was more interesting to me than the actual secret was Brandon Sanderson's thought process in how he came up with the idea. Basically, he thought about all of the characters and what they would want, what their ideal outcome would be. And he went that in depth on Lanfear, which, you know, it's kind of a Matt Hatch level of thinking about Lanfear, which I will get to later. And in thinking about this, he realized that Lanfear's ideal outcome would not be for the dark to win. It would be for the light to win, because the dark one basically hates her right now and has her on, like, permanent punishment. But not only does she need the light to win, she needs the light to think that she's dead, because the light would also then put her on punishment. On punishment. Oh my gosh, why am I using, like, parenting terms? Whatever. Anyway, so she needs the light to win, and for the light to think that she's dead. So she needs someone that she can fool, cue Perrin, and someone whom everyone would instinctively trust. Once again, cue Perrin. So it's incredibly logical. And like I said, that, to me, was more interesting than the actual secret. Now, I was chatting with some friends afterwards, and something that was pointed out in that conversation, I don't remember who said it, but this means that of the female Forsaken, only one person, one of them actually died. Missana has had her brain melted, but she's still alive. Grendel is caught in her own compulsion, and Moggy Baghettian is collared by the Shan-Shan. And now, Lanfear is just wandering around, free. Only Summerog died, which, like, we've talked about this a lot in the fandom, at least in the circles of the fandom that I'm in, just as this reticence to kill women. Lanfear, it's interesting. I don't even know fully what to make of it. It's interesting. But also, for me, Lanfear surviving, it's kind of a blow because I'm not sure, but I think Maggedian, sorry, is my favorite Forsaken. I go back and forth between her and Grendel, but I've always held that Moggy is in the best position of the Forsaken at the end of the books. She's collared by the Shan-Shan, but I think she can escape really easily because the Shan-Shan do not know who she is, and they do not know about the Weave of Compulsion. All she has to do is wait for the right opportunity, and we know that she's good at hiding and waiting. All she has to do is wait until she's with her Suldam and another person. Another person. Pay attention to that part, because whenever I explain my theory on this, everybody always ignores that I say another person. Another person, not her Suldam, not the person wearing her leash. Her Suldam, the person actually wearing her leash, makes her channel something, and while doing whatever it is that the Suldam wants, she splits the weave, she whips out, and in her split weave, she whips out some very simple compulsion on the other person. The other person, not her Suldam, to open her collar. We know that she's super fast with her weavings. We know that she can split her weaves. That's pretty simple. She's super fast. We know that. We've seen it in the books. And the Shan-Shan do not know who she is, and they do not know what that weave is. I think she could do it. And I don't even think it would be hard. She'd just have to wait until, it's the perfect opportunity. And I don't think that that's beyond her either. And while I did not have this thought myself, the Moggy theory is my own theory. I know that the Grendel stands out there. I think that Grendel likely had some protections in her own mind to protect from compulsion. And that does seem very in character to me. She's a person who knows how to use compulsion. She knows the danger of it. It makes sense to me that she would have built protections in her own mind, like some way to escape if ever compulsion was wielded against her. So I think that she could probably escape too. But this, Lanfear being alive and having successfully pulled off this deception, it makes her the most successful of the Forsaken. And I guess that means Matt Hatch wins? I don't know. It's not a contest, but if it is, he wins. He also wins because he guessed this from the text. He was a beta reader, and while doing the beta reading, I guess because Lanfear's his girl, he read that part, and instead of being me, being all just why is Lanfear being weird? Huh, never mind. He went, why is Lanfear being weird? There must be a reason. Oh, she's tricking Perrin. Okay. And then he confirmed this with Brandon Sanderson a decade ago. So, well done, Matt. I don't know anybody else who's had this theory. I've never read this theory online ever. I'm incredibly impressed that Matt put this together. Well done. There are a lot of other things that were discussed in the live stream, and I do fully recommend watching it because it's really interesting. I do like watching and hearing authors talk about their process, and because of what Wheel of Time is and the way Brandon Sanderson was brought into it, and there's just a lot of interesting details in how he had to work in a world that he didn't create, but that he had to be a creative within. It's really interesting. I fully recommend watching the live stream. But there is one other thing that he mentioned that I couldn't help but noticing while watching, and that is, and this is actually kind of hard for me to say, it's sad for me to say. And I'm not using that word lightly, it actually made me sad. Brandon Sanderson doesn't seem to think, or at least he didn't seem to think when he was writing the final books, it doesn't seem that he thought that Nynaeve was a main character. When talking about the main characters, he mostly talked about the three boys, and then occasionally, or maybe half the time, he would include Egwene in there. He used the phrase, the main four, several times. One time I think he said the main four, or maybe five, and whatever, but that felt like adding Nynaeve as an afterthought. And this hurt me, in my soul. It did make Nynaeve's absence in those final books make sense. I'd kind of assumed this, the thought that I had was, I guess Brandon Sanderson just didn't find her character interesting, or at one point I actually had the thought, oh, maybe there weren't enough notes on her. But in subsequent years, I've heard him say multiple times that there were virtually no notes on Perrin, and Perrin got major storylines in those books. So not having notes doesn't mean anything. I guess he didn't see her as one of the main characters. And I don't really have much else to say about that other than I was just okay, I guess he just didn't think her character was important. And yeah, oh, it kind of hurts. I don't really know why it hurts me. She's still important to me. She's still the goat. She's still my girl, but it just, I mean, 4. Like, 4? Okay. Anyway, like I said, the entire live stream linked below. It is well worth a watch, so check it out. And if you did watch it, what did you think of this revelation? Did you have any suspicions about this? Or if not, what did you think the secret was gonna be? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, I should tell you what my theory was. Although I had assumed until Origins that the secret was gonna be about the pipe. That's what I assumed it was going to be. And then read Origins and it wasn't there. And then I just didn't actually think about the secret after that. So I haven't, in the interim between Origins and now, I literally had kind of forgotten. So I don't have another theory that I can throw out there. But if you had one, let me know. I'd be really interested to read them in the comments below. And if you like my content and you want to support me, I do have a Patreon. It is linked in the description below. To my patrons, I love you. You really do mean so much to me, and I'm so grateful for you. Sincerely. And with that, I will end this here. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!